So the picture is Grok trying to show Jordan Peterson studying Talmud. Daniel Shalom, once he gets here, and I are going to start in on Sanhedrin, which is one of the tractates of the Talmud. Daniel Shalom's here. Shalom, Daniel Shalom.
Why can't I hear you? That's not good. Okay, let me check my audio.
I have no idea why you can't hear me. I'm guessing everybody else can hear me. I'm hoping everybody else can hear me.
Wait, now I hear you.
Yay! Shalom Aleichem, Reb Yid. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. So I thought before we started, I would give a little, a little introduction. But you want to give the introduction? Explain to us what the Talmud is?
No, I'm not really great at it. That's like for Chezi and Yosef to do, not for me.
There's no Sanhedrin 1a because every book of the Talmud. So thanks to our Catholic friends, we have the standard Talmudic pages that we have now. A nice young man named Daniel Bomberg was a Catholic printer about 300 years ago, maybe 400 years ago, who got a bunch of rabbis together and they printed some of the earliest books, including the Mikraot Gedolot, and the earliest editions of the Talmud. And in those, the first page was the Sha'ar, the beautiful front pages everyone, well, not everyone, but Jews are familiar with, which, does this even have it? I hope it has it. This is one of the blue art scrolls. Doesn't have a shar. Can you believe it? No shar. Oh well. You guys can find pictures online of the first pages of the Talmud. Anyway, the Talmud, according to Maimonides, in his introduction to the Mishnah Torah, was so what happened was that oral law was taught by Moses to the elders, and it is procedural, perspectival, and what's the third one? Not propositional.
Procedural, perspectival, and participatory.
Participatory, right. It wasn't so propositional, but what happened was that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, Rabbi Judah the Prince, who was a great-grandson of Hillel the Elder and Gamliel, he decided to make a mnemonic poem called the Mishnah of the teachings of the rabbis of his time. And to this day, there are people who still memorize the Mishnah, but the Mishnah has 6 orders, and one of them is damages. And in the order of damages, there are the
orders is like, I would say orders is sections, right? 6 different sections, 6 different categories. Yeah.
And Sanhedrin is one of the tractates. Technically, there are 60, but the 60 tractates, but there are actually 63 tractates, so we count differently. But Sanhedrin and Makot actually is considered part of the Sanhedrin as well, is one of the tractates. So this is the Babylonian Talmud we're going to do. There's also a Jerusalem Talmud, and they are both discussions of the Mishnah by rabbis trying to understand what is the Mishnah teaching us. And the discussion tends to veer off into all sorts of places. I wanted very much to do Ben Yehoyada, which is a commentary, Kabbalistic commentary by Rabbi Yosef Chaim, who lived about 100 years ago in Baghdad.
Really? He's so recent? I didn't know he was so recent. Wow.
Yeah, 100 years
I had
ago.
no idea. Well, I thought he was like 200 or 300. I just assumed it was more. 100 years ago is really recent. Wow. And
There is a famous picture of Rabbi Kaduri with the Ben Ish Chai.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually got to see Rabbi Kaduri live. So, yeah.
More importantly, he got to see you live.
I'm not sure he looked. He was known for keeping his eyes from Rishayan. Okay, so we are mostly going to do just Talmud Rashi because that's what Donnie prefers. That's what the big boys do is just Talmud Rashi. And
also
then,
already difficult enough. Like it's already going to be challenging to do that.
I would say it might even be more challenging than doing with the other commentaries, because you have to really understand Rashi and you really have to understand the Talmud. Anyway, Talmud is so when I was in yeshiva, we would usually spend about a week on each sugya, and a sugya is usually about a couple of lines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much time did you guys spend on a sugya?
We did 10 pages per year.
10 pages per year.
Back and front, so it's 20 pages total we would do per year.
Yeah, 10 daf per year is, and so daf yomi, right, which is absolute breakneck speed, right, is really meant for people who've already studied the entire Talmud and they're just reviewing what they've studied. And I mean, there are easier and harder masechtot. In yeshivas, they learn what are called the yeshivish masechtas, which are more difficult, and you study them in order to learn how to learn, and then hopefully the later ones you'll know it well enough you won't necessarily need a teacher for. Anything else you think is kedai to mention?
Maybe just to mention that this is going to be extremely technical because we're not just doing the fun parts of the Talmud. This is actually the halachic and the laws of the Talmud, so it's going to be extremely technical. So just a disclaimer.
Yeah, and also do not mistake just one part of the Talmud for what would be halacha, right? So, like, the Talmud is delving into one particular principle, but when it comes to actually a real life situation, things might be very, very different because of the exact nature of other things that are going on in the world. Yeah.
Awesome. Should we start?
We should start.
Okay.
Should I do the Mishnah so I leave you with the Gemara, or
no? Actually, this is either way, but just keep in mind that this is like a massive Mishnah. We're probably not going to get through it. It's very unusual.
Yeah, the first Mishnah goes on the entire daf, doesn't it?
Yeah, the first full page is the Mishnah, which is highly unusual.
It is highly unusual. Yes.
We both never learned this, so this will be interesting. We both never learned this tractate.
Yeah, I've learned the Mishnayot, but that was many years ago.
Sure.
Should I go first?
Go for it. Take it away.
Dine Mamonot Bishlosha. So the laws that deal with monetary matters, with 3, meaning that when a rabbinic court is convened, you need 3 judges. Gezelot v'chavelot bishlosha. Similarly, theft and bodily damage right? Somebody hits somebody else. So these are the laws of torts, right? Bishlosha, with 3. Nezek v'chetzi nezek, tashlumei kefel v'tashlumei arba, v'chamisha bishlosha. So nezek is damages. I mean, that's nezikin, right?
Nezek by Rashi says when your animal damages somebody else, or when you or if a person damages you, but either one.
Yeah, we probably should already start doing Rashi, right?
Sure, we can go through it. Do we want to put it up on the page, or doesn't, or should we just
put up the Rashi? I can put up the Rashi.
It's up to you. I don't.
I wasn't actually looking at the page, although I probably should have. I was looking at the physical Gemara I had in front of me. Well, for now we'll put away the Ben Yehoyada commentary Rashi.
Okay.
Okay.
So the first Rashi is Dine Mamanas Bishlosha, that the litigation regarding cases that have to do with monetary value is with 3 people, and the Rashi says Gemara Yafilu that the Gemara is gonna elucidate what this is referring to. Gezelos Kofer Vikadon Demushalech Bo Yad, that if someone denies that, if someone gives you an object to watch, and then they deny that they had it, and it turns out that they really do have it, right? I mean, they deny that you ever gave it to them in the first place, right? Havigazlan, in that case, they're considered, a thief. And also, if you just outright steal something from someone else, you're considered a thief. Kigon, for example, Vayigzol esachanas miyad mitzri. Rashi is talking about a verse in Samuel when some person stole a spear from the hand of an Egyptian, which is, I don't know why Rashi says this example, like as if conceptualizing thievery is so complex. I'm not sure, or maybe he just wants to show that the language of
I think the word gazel,
okay,
he's trying to, especially I think because in other places doesn't the Gemara make a distinction between Geneva and Gezela?
Yeah. The Gezela is outright, and the Geneva is more stealth, like a stealth thievery.
Yeah,
I think that's the discrepancy.
No, I thought it's the other way around.
No,
Geneva is the one that a ganav is somebody who threatens your life, while a gazlan is not. I thought.
No, I think, and this is going to be a good example. You see by Yigzal Chaz Miyad Mitzri, like he just grabbed it from his hand. So I think that's the outright theft, and Geneva, that expression is more the stealth version, I think.
Right.
Okay. Aval love v'lo shilem, but if someone borrows money and does not pay, lo mikri gazlan, it's not called a gazlan, because the mal v'lo tzadnitna, because the mil v'lo tzadnitna, because the loan was used to actually pay for things. So, because I'm not sure why that makes it, you're not called
because the actual kesef that the person gave you, right? So when I give you money, right, I expect you to go spend it.
Oh, okay. So if I don't pay you back, okay, you're not called.
You're not giving. I don't expect you to give me back the same dollar bills.
Right. But let's say you don't pay it back, you're not called. You're called something else, I guess. You didn't pay back the loan. You're not called the gazlan if you don't pay back, I guess. Okay. But this is a great example of like a starting point of like if someone is new to the Talmud of how technical this is, that we're getting into the terminology of, even though obviously if you steal outright or you don't pay someone back, you're technically, you're equally considered a liar in a sense, but there's still the terminology makes a difference to the Talmud, and that's
this is a big deal for a lot of especially Protestants when they pick up a Talmud and they see how it goes into all of these things. It's not like it's saying, oh, this isn't a gazlan, therefore it's okay, right?
Right.
Like, and people a lot of time that's their like, what difference does it make? It's all sinning. And it's like, no. There are worse sins. There are better sins. There are questions of what you do in certain situations, right? And it's very technical.
Yep. V'chavilos, and this is so Rashi translates what this means. Hachov b'chavero, if someone hits his friend, damages his friend, chayiv b'chamisha devarim, you're chayiv with the 5 things, which is nezek, sar, ripoy, shabbos, and boshes, which is damages, which is like just the actual damages you caused, the tsar, which is the pain you caused the person, ripoy refers to the healing that he has to go through, like if he broke his leg, sheves is like if he has
He can't go to
work, and boshes is the embarrassment. Well, that's really interesting, by the way. I never actually, now that we're talking about that, you're also charged for the embarrassment that you caused the person. It's kind of fascinating on a physical damage.
The funny thing is, American law ultimately is all based on this stuff.
Does American law have something to charge someone for embarrassment? Is that thing? Is that like defamation essentially?
Right.
Is that embarrassment?
Yeah. So all of these things. The funny thing is, people don't realize when the Catholics made their common law, their clerical law, part of what they did was actually study Talmud.
Interesting.
And when the people who made the common law in England, there's one particular person, Yoram Chazoni, started to translate his works into Hebrew because he's just a Gentile lawyer. He wrote a perush on the Mishnah Torah, which Jews never studied. So apparently they've started recently translating it to Hebrew so people could see. But he was the guy who first codified the British common law.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of this stuff is actually integrated into American law as well.
Interesting. So then Rashi continues, says, "Kedarino babakama," like it says in babakama of ish kiyitin mumba miso. I quote the verse that says, when a man basically harms his friend, Ken yaselo mamon uvgmar parachaynu dinimamos. So it's actually interesting that this is the verse that teaches us about the 5 damages. The verse actually though says, this is another just interesting piece about the Talmud. It talks about an eye for an eye,
tooth for a tooth. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that at all. Somehow it means the equivalent, which is monetary compensation.
Equivalence. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Nezek deshar amuad adam shaziko. This is referring to a animal that is, how do you translate muad? A known dangerous animal, right? Yeah. Or a person that damages, and the Gemara is going to ask later, isn't this the same thing as chavilos? Like, why does we need to do double? Tashlumei kefel, when you're charged double, and that's the gneva shenus of the other. When the stolen object is found in your hand, dichsiv hematzi tamatzi b'yado, it's found in your hand. V'tashlumei arba chamisha deshoro sesh tapcho machor. This is, you're charged 4 or 5 times, specifically in a case when you stole something and then you slaughtered it or you sold it. Then you're charged 4 or 5 times on top of it.
Yeah. So that's nezek and chetzi nezek, tashlumei kefel, v'tashlumei arba, v'chamisha b'shlosha. All of these things, you need 3 judges for a rabbinic court.
Right.
Ha'ones v'hamefate v'hamotzi shemra b'shlosha. Divrei Rabbi Meir. So a rapist and a seducer and someone who slanders someone else, all of these require 3 judges. That's according to Rabbi Meir.
And I think everything up to this point has been according to Rabbi Meir. Everything up to this point.
Okay.
I think that's what I'm assuming. It could be that he's only commenting here, but I think it's everything up to this point. And regarding the Motzi Shemra, that's Rashi says it's talking about specifically a case of when someone slept with a woman and then discovered that she wasn't actually a virgin. That's what Rashi says here.
Yeah.
After they got married, it was discovered that she wasn't a virgin, and but he ends up turns out to be a lie. That's that. In that case, that's what's adjudicated by 3 judges.
Yeah. So I mean, okay. So the Rashi for the Ones and Mefate says Nara betula chamishim kesef. So there's 50 whatever of silver, specifically if some for the damages against her for taking her virginity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. וחכמים אומרים מוציא שם רע ב-23 מפני שיש בו דיני נפשות. So the sages say that someone who slanders, that is with a what's called a Sanhedrin katana, a small Sanhedrin is with 23, and that's because somebody can be put to death based on Motzi Shemra.
Right. That's what Rashi says there. So the MS she's into because if it's true that she really did sleep with someone else after they already married, that then she would actually possibly be open to like a death sentence.
Yeah.
So
okay. Makot b'shlosha, mishum Rabbi Yishmael amru be'esrim v'shlosha. So to do the lashes of the 40 minus 1, which Christians will be familiar with because Paul apparently several times was lashed 40 minus 1, is with 3. Rabbi Yishmael, in the name of Rabbi Yishmael, they would say that it was actually 23. A judge.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Ibor HaChodesh v'shlosha. Deciding intercalation of months is with 3. Deciding to add a month to the year. Ibor Hashana b'shlosha. Oh no, Ibor HaChodesh is the which day it's a
full month. So
for them is the month. The Gemara Mefarish, the Gemara is going to explain it. Ibor Hashana, deciding when intercalation of months, that's also b'shlosha. Yeah. You want to read that, Rashi?
So basically, the judges have to decide if they need to add an extra month in order to keep the spring and the winter the timelines correct, right? Because Gemara Milsa, like we say, Gemara Milsa Rabbi Shimon Mefresh Gemara Brisa. So we'll talk about this, and hopefully we get there. 10 pages.
Yeah, that's daf. Wow, that's daf 10b. Yeah. This is a long Mishnah. Okay. Divrei Rabbi Meir. This is according to Rabbi Meir. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel Omer b'shlosha matchilin u'b'chamisha nosin v'notnin v'gomrin b'shiva. So Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel has a whole calculation where you start with 3 people, but you nosin v'notnin. They literally take and put, right? They argue with 5, the Gomrin, and they finish up with 7.
And this is the most rabbinic sentence in history. Don't you agree? I mean, like for no purpose at all except to make it extra complicated, you know? And to use different language for each product. Right? You start with 3, you get into a discussion with 5, and then you complete it with 7. It's like, what is happening, you know?
However, if they still had 3 when they were when they decided that they should add, then it is still according to their decision me'uberet. It is added.
Okay, now I think we're moving to another topic. I think Smichas
Yeah.
Shekinah V'Reichas Egla. What's that?
Smichat zekenim, right? Rashi says al rosh par helam devar shel tzibur, right? So when you have the elders that they have to, the elders of a congregation have to put their hands on a bull that is going to be sacrificed.
Right.
Because they missed something, they made a mistake.
Right.
But
it's a communal sin. If it's a communal sin, yeah.
So 3 elders do it. The arifat egla. So egla arufa is when there is a body found. That they didn't know where it came from. The community that is closest to it has to bring a special egla arufa. I mean, arifat egel means to break the neck of a egel is a young, like a calf.
Yeah.
And that's a special. It's from Genesis. There's a special thing that they were liable for not protecting someone who got
came
killed.
To the city. Like it's an assumption if it's found out outside the city that they wouldn't welcome him properly. Which I think this is actually one of first of all, it's a very unknown Jewish ritual, but I think it's such a meaningful and touching one that the community takes responsibility for something that where you can't actually point to any one person, but the whole community as a whole takes. I think it's really incredible.
I agree with you, but if I remember correctly, the parsha it's in doesn't have a lot of other things to talk about. So
I don't know where it's. I know there's like a esoteric reference to it when it came for.
It's the Pharaoh.
But it's somewhere. It's not in Genesis. The laws of this. I don't know where it is though. It's not in Genesis.
I thought it was.
No, it's in here. I see here. I have the Art Scroll Gemara here. It's Deuteronomy 21.
Oh, Deuteronomy. Okay.
21 1 through 4.
Okay, but it's beferish. Like it's
right.
4 pasukim. I mean,
yeah.
Most things we learn. Deuteronomy what?
1 to 4, 1 through 4. Yeah, we should pull it up because I feel like people, including myself, are not familiar with this. With these verses, so we should pull it up for sure.
Then we won't be like real yeshiva bachurim, learning only the parts of Tanakh that are in.
Exactly.
Why is this not pulling up? Come on, pull up. There we go. Okay. Ele hadvarim asher diber Moshe el kol bnei Israel, kol Israel, be'ever hayarden b'midbar ba'arava mul suf bein paran ve'uvein tofel v'lavan v'chatzarot v'dizahav. So this is what Moses said there.
No, it's in 21.
21. Okay, 21. I was wondering.
21.
Okay, let me.
We could just go through the first 21 and get there, you know.
We could.
I'm kidding.
I thought I'm like, this isn't the beginning of Devarim. What are you saying? Okay. Ki matze halal ba'adama, that if a corpse is found in the land, asher Hashem Elokecha noten lecha, which the Lord your God has given to you, lerishta, to inherit it, nofel basadeh, that fell in the field, lo noda mihikahu, and it's not known who hit him, has slain him. V'yatzu zekenim v'shoftecha umadedu el ha'arim asher sevivot hechalal, And so the judge, your judge and your elders shall go out and judge and measure which cities are around this corpse. V'haya ha'ir ha'karova el hachalal, and so the city that is the closest to the halal, the corpse, v'lakhu ziknei ha'ir hahi eglat bakar, they will take a young calf, a female calf, asher lo uvad ba, which has not been worked with, asher lo mashcha ba'ol, which has not pulled on a yoke. V'horidu ziknei ha'ir hahi et ha'egla el nachal eitan, and they will take it down to a strong river. Asher lo ya'aved bo velo yizarea, that has not been worked and cannot be sown, plowed or sown. Okay. Ve'arfu sham et ha'egla ben nachal, and they will break the neck of this poor little calf in the ravine, in the river.
It's interesting. Like, two things I wanted to notice about these verses, and I know we don't want to spend too much time on this, but first of all, that the fact that it calls the slain body a chalal, like, what's that? I feel like that is a very unusual term to use. That was
It's
the first
been
thing I heard.
desecrated.
Right, like it comes from almost that word desecration, or like, don't we say also, doesn't chalal also mean like a? Can it also mean like a space? Maybe I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Yeah, that it comes from to dig or to yeah, that's where the word desecrate comes from in Hebrew.
And then also at the end, that last verse you read about that you actually kill the animal in an area that can't where things can't grow and things can't thrive. Like, is that like a metaphorical reference to the fact that this happened is almost like a reference to the fact that the city is dead? It can't. If you have someone come through your city and you're not hosting them, then that means you have a city that can't grow and can't thrive. Like, there's something that's inherently wrong with the city.
Yeah, and there has to be a strong river, meaning something that takes it away, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is also just a great example of like the standard that the Torah has is it's crazy. Like, this is a standard that I personally cannot like reach. Like, this is a ridiculous standard, and it's
What do you mean?
It says it in such a pedestrian way, like as if these are just whatever verses, like they're 4 random verses, but the standard that's being set here is absolutely astonishing.
The standard is that if somebody dies around you, it's your fault. That's the standard.
That's a really high standard.
It's a standard. What if somebody dies in front of your apartment? You don't have responsibility. I think it's a clear thing. I think it's a pashut thing. It might not be a pashut thing that a lot of people think about, but ultimately I think it's a pashut thing.
Yeah, maybe, but to me, I don't see it that. I agree, maybe it should be, but to me, I find the standard to be basically breathtaking. Like, in terms of you know how difficult it is to become a virtuous person. Like, and then it says this standard as if like, yes, this is the basic standard that you need to be at. Otherwise, you literally need to do this grand gesture to express your failure. You know, it's not saying like, oh, don't worry about it, like no big deal, we'll talk about it later, or like, just, you know, like it's very serious. Like, this is something that the entire community needs to come to terms with, and everyone needs to be involved.
A dead person is an important thing, especially. I mean, that's the thing with the first with the first verse, right? It's like, this is and like nobody knows who this person is, right? And what happened,
right?
Like, that's And the fact that it links it to the fact that God gave us our land.
I was about to say that. I love that. It's almost like a subtle dig. It's like I gave you this land, and look what you do to it. Like you just destroy it. You
Yeah.
know, it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But again, I think also this is another piece about. This is also I think a comedic element in a way. Like this nosin l'chal rishta. Like I gave you this land. It's like a real insult to the people. You know. Anyhow, okay, so we can go back to the
Okay, so that's Arifat Eglah.
yeah.
And that is still with 3. Divrei Rabbi Shimon. This is according to Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda Omer B'chamisha. Rabbi Yehuda says 5. Hachalitza v'hameunin b'shlosha. So chalitza is the ritual with the shoe that happens when a man who has a brother dies childless. His wife is commanded in what's called the Levirate marriage to his brother, and the
man. I think it's the opposite. The man needs to. Right. If a man and woman are married and the man dies, then the brother has an obligation to marry the woman. Maybe you said that.
The brother. Well, the brother has an obligation, but she's the one who needs the chalitza because without it, she's an aguna, right?
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay, got it.
Yeah, if she doesn't do chalitza, she's an aguna.
Got it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And meunin, which I didn't remember, but Rashi tells us. You want to read the Rashis?
Sure. Let's see. Miuna yesoma katana shesia ima vachel daita yotze below get b'mian. So a young female orphan who shesia ima vachel daita.
So if a
her mother and brother married her off, right? Yeah. Ledaita with her consent, but obviously,
well, she's too young to give consent.
Right. Yatsa below get b'mian kol zman shelo go l'tachtav. So she's able to go without a divorce by using this ritual called mian.
Yeah, by refusing the marriage. Once she's old enough, she can refuse the marriage.
No, but it says kol zman shelo go l'tachtav. As long as she didn't get old enough. So she's only able to refuse it before she reaches.
So I think this is the din bogeret from the age of 12 to 12 and a half or to 13.
Right.
She has the ability to.
Right. She can as long as she's not old enough, she can still. So it's interesting. Like she's not really at that age where she, at least in modern.
The problem isn't. No, the problem is how long it goes. By the way, this law still applies to children who are converted as children. They can when they turn 12 for a girl, 13 for a boy, they're given a short amount of time to refuse the gerut because it wasn't done according to their whatchamacallit, because they didn't agree to it. But once it takes a while, once they don't refuse, then it becomes permanent.
Right. So, but she has to refuse it before she becomes an adult age in order to get out of this.
Yeah. Right. I think it's from 12 to 12 and a half. She has 6 months.
Right. Okay, interesting. And then it says, here it says kol zman shelo go l'tachtav, as long as she doesn't become old enough. Uv'shlosha be'inan, and you need 3 in this case. B'chol b'tikun rabbanan ke'ein daraisa. Tikun. Okay, this is getting into controversy here. Anything that the rabbis instituted, it's as if it's a biblical institution.
Well, no, they instituted it similarly to whatever the.
It's like okay. U'mi'unan derabanan. U'mi'unan derabanan demirais. Afilu mi'an lo bayit. De'ein kacha katana klum ella im kin kacha avia dechsev eludin nezeh. Oh, so because the biblical idea of this, that you won't even need a miyun, de'ein kedusha katana klum, because you can't ever be mekadesh a child. Ella im kin kacha avia, only if the father brought it about. So wait, so the whole concept of having the mother or brother do it is a rabbinic concept?
Right.
Is that what it's saying?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Of allowing them to do any sort of whatchamacallit, any sort of engagement.
Right. Got it.
Apparently,
Okay.
I didn't know this. Okay.
By the way, we're not even like a quarter way through the Mishnah yet. We're getting there.
That's how it works. Okay. And Meunin Bishlosha. Okay. Netaravai. Oh wow. Okay. So this is the fourth tithe, umaser sheni, and the second tithe, and she'ein damav yeduin, that it is not clear how much it costs. That bishlosha. This is with three. Hahekdeshut shot bishlosha. Any sort of hekdesh, which is things that are set aside for the temple, this is with three. Ha'arachin v'hamitaltalin, measures and movable objects, bishlosha. I'm not sure what any of these are, but I'm guessing Rashi says. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, echad mehem kohen. One of them has to be a kohen.
Interesting. Okay. Neta Ravai, imbal lechalo al amos, v'chein meiser sheni. If they wanted to redeem, so they have these fruits they have to dedicate to the temple, but they want to take that, they want to transfer the holiness from the fruits to the money. That way they could just bring the money up instead of the fruits.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, this is with trees that the first 3 years are not allowed, and the fourth year belongs to the temple, and then in the fifth year you can eat from it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. V'chein meiser sheni, and meiser sheni is the second year. I think that's all that means. Right?
So meiser sheni. So the way the tithe cycle works, and I only know this because when I was living in Israel, people used to discuss. So there's the 7-year cycle, and the third year and the sixth year, the first 2 years, and then the fourth year and the fifth year.
Oh, it says here
Maser Rishon and Maser Sheni.
So in the first, in the article here, it says in the first, second, fourth, and fifth years, Meiser Sheni must be separated from produce, in addition to Meiser Rishon.
Yeah, that goes to the Levium, I believe, Meiser Sheni.
That's me. Keep that in mind.
Yes, sir.
Jacob, I'm expecting like some serious donations for me and Chazi.
Serious donations. Oh, yeah. Once Yosef and I create our little moshav in Eretz Yisrael, you and Chazi will be the first ones to get to come and eat.
Amazing. She'ein demem yadun can go in pairs of fruits. V'herkivu she'ein lehem shar b'shuk. V'herkivu means like I think if it gets rotten.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that means. Go in pairs. She'ein lehem shar b'shuk, because there's no way of measuring it in the marketplace.
No, shar b'shuk means a market price.
Oh, yeah. Got it. So there is no market price for it, so they have to litigate about it. Okay. That if they want to consecrate any of these items, they have to transfer it, and they need 3 people to evaluate the value. The Gemara is going to explain it in 28 pages from now.
Wow. Yeah.
We have a long road ahead.
Yeah.
Echad mehem kohen dichsiv kohen b'parsha karacha kohen. So it's a pasuk in Leviticus.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool. Okay.
Jacob, are you regretting this yet?
Not at all. The
Right.
hakarkaot, and when we're dealing with oh wow, this is interesting. I completely forgot about this. Okay, so when we're dealing with lands, 9 and a kohen. That's really interesting to me because in the Damascus document of the Qumran community, if I remember correctly, they required 10 for their rabbinic court, and one of them had to be a Kohen, or like 3 of them had to be a Kohen, and I was wondering where they got.
I've never heard of this before. I mean, at all. I don't recollect anything about. Meaning it's almost like the equivalent of saying like if you have a minion of people praying together, one of them needs to be a Kohen. Like that's how bizarre it is, right? In that sense.
Yeah,
That's not the case.
What, especially, I mean, when you're talking about rabbinic courts, we always talk about 3, 23, and 71. Like
right.
This idea of 10, right? Like
right.
I when I saw it in the Damascus document, I was like, where'd they get 10 from? But here we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Adam keyotze bahem. And regarding, I believe this must be a slave.
For a slave. Okay.
Like is like karka.
Right.
Yeah, like Rashi says.
Interesting.
Okay. Dine nefashot. When we're dealing with capital matters, be'esrim v'shlosha, you require 23. Harovea v'hanirva. I don't remember what a rovea and a nirva is.
So that's talking about bestiality. So rovea is basically whether or not like who initiates. I don't know how this works, but like, here, let's see. Rovea nirva.
Yeah, Rashi
a shore that had sex with a woman, ubehema sheniravis leish, or a man that had sex with an animal. The animal is going to be stoned for that.
Be'esrim v'shlosha. So that also requires 23. Shneimar v'haragta et ha'isha ve'et ha'behema ve'omer ve'et ha'behema tarogu. Because it says you shall kill the woman and the animal, and it says you shall kill the animal. Okay. Shor haniskal. A bull that that has to be killed. Be'esrim v'shlosha.
It says it in the in Rashi right there.
Yeah, shenagach adam v'met, that he it killed somebody. Shneimar hashor yisakel v'gam ba'alav yumat. That because it says the animal is going to be stoned, and also its owner will die. Kemitat ba'alim kach mitat hashor. So since the same verse mentions both of them, then we understand them to be done in a similar manner. Haze'ev
not that the owner gets killed for the ox's sins, but that just like if the owner would kill, he gets killed, so too the animal gets killed if he kills.
Yeah. You want to read that, Rashi?
Kimisas ba'alim im haya nidon b'chiyav misas bezdin debayas rishosha kach misas shar the high ba'alav yumas kra yisera lahach drasha v'lonis chayva katla k'var shama gemara. So Baal of Yumas, that the owner should die, is like an extra verse. It's an extra expression. So we're gonna explain later that you're not actually, that the owner doesn't get killed. With the first time the Gemara, and the Gemara is going to explain it. So it doesn't really say the punchline though. Okay.
Haze'ev v'ha'ari, the wolf and the lion. Hadov v'hanamer, a bear and a leopard. V'habardalas, v'hanachash, I forget what a bardalos is.
Here it translates it as a skunk, but that's an article translation. I have no idea if that's legit or not.
Okay. And a serpent, mitatam be'esrim v'shlosha, they are put to death with 23. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, kol hakodem lahorgan zacha. Rabbi Eliezer says, whoever kills them first, it's his, he
Right.
did something good. Rabbi Akiva Omer,
Right.
mitatan be'esrim v'shlosha. Rabbi Akiva
I
disagrees
didn't
with
think
Rabbi
about it. We're talking about litigating against an animal. Like we're talking about like a court case against an animal, essentially. Like what is going?
Yeah.
How does that court case work?
Well, no, I mean to decide whether or not you're going to kill the animal.
Right.
You can't stop to kill an animal, although
Right, 'cause it's someone's property.
Rabbi Elazar says you can, right? But
Sounds like it. Right.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm sure the Gemara goes into it because it's Stam and Mishnah, and then which Stam Mishnah Rabbi Meir, and then Rabbi Elazar disagrees,
Right.
and then Rabbi Akiva disagrees with his Rabbi.
Right.
Okay. Ein danin lo et hashevet velo et navi hasheker velo et kohen gadol ela al pi beit din shel shiv'im ve'echad. So, if we are going to judge an entire tribe or a false prophet or a high priest, it must be done according to rabbinic court of 71. Ve'ein motzin el milchama harashut el al pi beit din shel shivim ve'echad. Same thing if it's a voluntary war. You require a Sanhedrin. Ein mosifin al ha'ir v'al ha'azarot ela al pi beit din shel shivim ve'echad. I think Mosifin al Ha'ir is talking about whatchamacallits? Adding actually it's saying adding to Jerusalem. Okay, I thought it was Are Miklat. Guess not. And the Azarot, meaning the courtyards of the temple. You have to have a Sanhedrin. Ein osin Sanhedriot l'shvatim ela al pi beit din shel shivim ve'echad. And you cannot make small Sanhedrins in your tribes without the agreement of the large Sanhedrin. I think that's what Rashi is saying here.
So they have like small councils of different bezdins, different. What's it translated of a bezdin? Courthouse.
Rabbinic court.
Rabbinic court. Okay, got it. Cool. Also, I never heard that of judging an entire shevet like as a concept. That's so interesting. Like
so in Nach it happens. They judged all of Binyamin, I think.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting.
Ein osin ir hanidachat. We do not. There a city that is to be destroyed. The entire city. Ela al pi beit din shel shivim ve'echad. You need to have a Sanhedrin, a large Sanhedrin. Ein osin ir hanidachat basfar velo shalosh aval osin achat o shtayim. What does sfar mean? Kerech hamavdil bein Israel and Nuchrim ubelaz marka ubegamar mafarsh taima. So you cannot judge a city that is at the frontier by to be destroyed, nor can you do 3 cities at once, but you can 1 or 2. Yeah.
Interesting.
And the Gemara explains why.
So Iranidaf is the city that is determined that the whole city is basically idol worshiping. Like, I wonder what the threshold is of that. Right?
It's Deuteronomy 13. It talks about they're mesit. Okay. Sanhedrin Gadola Haita Shel 71 Uktana Shel 23. So a large Sanhedrin has 71 members and a small one has 23. Minayin legadola shehi shel 71. How do we know that a large Sanhedrin has 71 members? Shneamar esva li 70 ish meziknei Israel. Like Moses says, I will gather to me 70 men from the elders of Israel. Umoshe al gabehem, and Moses was the leader of them. Rabbi Yehuda Omer 70. Rabbi Yehuda says,
of course, and it can't be straightforward, right? Even though the verse expresses a number, it just can't be straightforward. That's not an option, you know? It has to be an argument of how many it is.
If it wasn't an argument, why would we have a Mishnah? Uminayin lekatana shehi shel 23. So how do we know the small Sanhedrin is 23? Shneamar v'shaftu ha'eda v'hitzilu ha'eda. So we have 2 verses. One says the congregation will judge, and the other one says the congregation will save or will retain, right? So you have 2 edot, right? Eda shofetet ve'eda matzelet. One congregation to judge and the other one to save, right? Hare kan esrim, that's 20 people. Uminayin la'eda shehi asara. So how do we know that when the Bible refers to a congregation that it has 10 members? Shneemar ad matai la'eda hara'a hazot. We learn it from the spies, that 12 spies were sent. 10 of them came back and spoke ill of the land, and God referred to them as a congregation of evil. Yatsu Yoshua v'Kalev. That doesn't include Joshua and Caleb.
And I have to add here, I think this is also another comedic element in the Torah of that we learn minyan and we learn rabbinic courts from this evil, probably the worst story in Jewish history that caused the most destruction. That's where we learn these 2 holy rituals, that we need 10 people for when we pray, and we need 10 people for these courts. And it's so, to me, I don't know how you can't see the comedy in that. That's how I see it.
So Yom Kippur, Kol Nidre, what's the first thing we say in Kol Nidre, right? We say Bereshut Yeshiva Shel Mala Bereshut Yeshiva Shel Mata.
Yeah.
We allow to pray with sinners. Right. And there's all kinds of rabbinic things about how the sinners are, including the sinners, is a requirement, right? So I think it's related. In my mind, it's related. You hear it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't make that connection. I like that.
Now
we're at 20 right now. We're at 20. We have to still get to 23.
Yes. So why do we have 3 more? Mimashma shnema lo tihye acharei rabim laraot. Why it implies it when it says you should never go after a majority to do evil. Shomea ani she'ehiye imahem latova. I understand that I should go with them if they decide for the well. Imken lama ne'amar acharei rabim lahatot. Right? Why then does it say to go after that you should turn towards the good. Lo hatayatcha latova, hatayatcha lara. Your the way you turn towards good should not be similar to how you go towards evil. Hatayatcha latova al pi echad, hatayatcha lara al pi shnayim. So if it's if you have a vote and it's uneven, let's say you have 6 versus 5, right? 6 versus 5. If it's to do something good, that's fine. But if it's for something bad, you need to win by 2 votes. So
Right.
11 doesn't work. Each Ada has to be each Ada has to be 11, so that brings you up to 22, and then you add one more, 23, right? So 12 to 11 you can't convict. It has to be at least 13 to 10 to convict.
Right, but why can't it just be 12 to 10? Isn't that, why does it?
It could be, but then you have an even number, and
then it could be 11 to 11. Got it. That would be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it says. Aim bed and shackle. So masifan alayim orechad harikan shel esrim v'shalosh. So you have to have 23.
Yeah. The ain beit din shackle, so you can't have an even number on a beit din. Masifan alayhem od echad. You have to add another person. Harikan esrim v'shlosha. So you end up with 23. V'kama yeheh ba'ir uteheh ra'uya l'sanhedrin. So how many people do you need in order to need a small Sanhedrin? Me'av esrim. 120 adult males. Rabbi Nehemiah omer 203. Rabbi Nehemiah says 203. Keneged sarei asarot. Because with Moses and Jethro, it talks about the leaders of the tens. That is to say, each member of the Sanhedrin can be viewed as a judge with responsibility for 10 residents. If there are not enough men in the city to enable the calculation, it would not be honorable to appoint a Sanhedrin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, we made it to the Gemara.
We made it all the way to the Gemara. Yes. Okay. Okay. We're still on.
Now we're on base.
We're base Amud base. Yeah, I'm just seeing where it is on the page. It's
5 lines from the top.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's not so far into the page. Okay. You want to go?
Okay, let's do it.
How long are we gonna go?
Let's see. I don't know how complicated this is gonna get.
Well, I mean, how long did you schedule for this?
I assumed an hour, but I can go longer.
Up to you.
We'll see. Once we get stuck, we'll
Once we get stuck, we'll stop. You're having fun, I can tell.
I'm having tons of fun. I don't know if anybody's watching, but I'm having fun.
There's 4 people watching, apparently.
Oh, wow. So it's a major audience. I love it. And RJ's here, which is exciting.
Yeah, Talmud time.
Yeah. Okay. So we have to go back here. We're going to reflect back on what we started with, which is the beginning of the Mishnah, which stated that Dinei Mamanos is with. So that means with litigation, when it's talking about monetary damages, you need 3 people, and then it talks about stealing and the chavilos is other types of damages, and that's going to be the first question of the Gemara. So the first question of the Gemara is Atu Gazelos v'Chavalos Lav Dinei Mamas Ninu. So the Mishnah is trying to make a discrepancy between mamonos, which is monetary value, and gazelas and chabalas, which is different types of damages. And so the Gemara is asking, what's the difference between these three things? So Amar Rabbi Avo, Mahin Katani Mahin Dini Mamonos. Mahin Katani.
What's it coming to teach us?
Gazelas chavilas. Oh, aval hados v'halvlos lo. But
Hoda is an admission.
okay, so let's see Rashi. Mayin Katani. Hi, Gazelas chavilas perusha dini mamonesu. Delo tema kol. Don't say kol dine mamonos b'mashma ulemute halvos v'ado shehein bon al gemilas chasadim. V'ika nilas deles b'fnei lavin. Kidamri lakaman hilkach meitino lakaman varish ma'tiu. Don't say that the monetary cases, it's excluding loans, v'hodos, shehein bon al gemilas chasadim. What's hodos? Like gifts? What is that? What is that talking about?
Good question.
Let's see here. What is this?
Which one it says? Well, they translate it as personal injury. No, but in cases of admissions where one party admits that he owes another money, yeah, so somebody who's admitting he's being kind, he didn't have to admit it, I guess.
Oh, okay. Bignil's deles bifnei lavin, and there's Rashi saying there's like a closing of the door because of the lender.
So like it's shutting the door to the idea of that these are loans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you go back to the beginning of the Mishnah, right? Dine mamonot b'shlosha, gazelot v'chavelot b'shlosha, right? So
yeah.
Why is it bothering nezek, chatzi nezek, tashlumei kefel, v'tashlumei arba, v'chamisha b'shlosha? Hold on, I thought it said mamonot somewhere.
No, mamonot is the first one. Mamonot is the first one.
Oh, yeah. Dine mamonot b'shlosha, right? So once it told us that it's money matters, so why does it start enumerating individual money matters, right? I could have just left it with
as mamonos, as money matters, right?
So it's giving us. So the whole point of the Gemara is to discuss why is the Mishnah. It's trying to decode the Mishnah, right? Why does the Mishnah teach the way that it teaches? What it teaches the way that it does. What do we learn from it, right? So since it gave us a general rule, why is it giving us particulars? So Rabbi Abahu is explaining that these particulars are taught so that you understand it doesn't include admissions and loans.
Right.
And then the Gemara asks, so why is it
necessary? Right. The itana dine mamonos, because if it teaches us just dine mamonos, monetary value, hava mina dafilo hodas v'halvos. You would have thought that includes the cases of where they're admitting. Again, so admitting means I say Donnie owes me $10. Right.
So you say, yeah, I do.
Oh, okay, got it. So you would think it. So how many dafilo hodas v'halvos? Tana gazelos v'chabela. So it teaches you that. Oh, so you would have thought it's only talking about that even hadas v'halvos. So then it says no gazelos v'chavelos. That it's actually only talking about the gazelos and chavilos, right? Where you actually do it intentionally.
Right.
V'itana gazelos v'chavelos. But if you only taught the gazelos and chavilos, lo katani dini mamash, it doesn't teach the monetary value. Hava mina hu hadin dafilu hodos v'halvos. then you would think that that it's the same situation if you admitted that you stole the money, or you admitted that you didn't pay back the money.
Yeah. So why does it need to teach both, say mamonot, and give us these particulars? Because if it just said mamonot, I would think all of them. If it said just gazelot v'chavelot, then I would have thought, oh, similar to that, it's all mamonot. But it says dine mamonot and gazelot v'chavelot, and that lets me know, oh, it's from the all of the laws of mamonot. It's only these two.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, practical halacha nowadays is a rabbinic court only sits on hodaot v'halvaot, right? Because it doesn't require three. That's how you can have one mumcha and two people, right? Because it doesn't.
Right.
We don't have smicha nowadays.
Right. Hmm. Okay. And that which is taught gazelos and chavelos mishum de ikar shlosha diksivi gazelos chavelos ksivi. Is this a question?
No, I don't think so. So Steinsaltz says,
Yeah.
by saying that these are mere examples and that the Mishnah mentions them because in the primary cases in which the requirement for 3 judges is written in the Torah, it is written with regard to cases of robbery and personal injury.
So I'm not following. So what does that mean here?
Good question. Itani.
Sounds like it's a continuation of what we were saying before. You didn't finish the thought. I think we're reading this as 2 separate thoughts.
Hava mina. I would have thought shehu hadin afilu hadat v'hai the katani gazelat v'chavalot mishum the ikar shlosha dichtive begazelat v'chavalot ketive.
So I think what it's saying is
Oh,
that
we didn't go far enough.
Right. We needed to it needs to say both in order to exclude hados v'havos. It needs to say both. And then it continues though and says, but then why does it, and that which it says that it specifies gazelos and chavilos, mishum de ikar gimel dichsivi. Because the main place in the Torah which says you need 3 is referenced by gazelos. V'nikra ba'abayis Elohim. In this case, Elohim is referring to judges, I believe.
Yes.
Or I just said God named in vain, one of the two.
No.
Chavalos, Mali chaval begufo, Mali chaval b'mono. So I guess it's saying that it's the same whether or not you damage the person's body or you damage the person's money.
Tana mahen dine mamanot gazel aval hadad.
Oh, okay. So the verse mentions Elohim twice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the following verse after that one. What difference is there whether one injured someone else's body or his property? Tana mahin dine mamanos. Is low. Now I have no idea what's flying.
Sorry, my back has hurt for the past couple of days, and it's just
Nothing will agitate your back more than the Talmud. So we can continue next week. This is the tough piece, so we can look it over and
we can try to break our heads over it ourselves, and then next week we'll actually know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
that might be a good thing. I wanted to do the Ben Yehoyada though.
Okay.
Let's.
I don't know if he's gonna have much of a commentary on this piece. Maybe
I already read what he had to say on the previous page. Okay. Sanhedrin Gedola Haita Shel Shiv'im Ve'echad. Nira li B'siyata Deshmaya Tam Lemispar Zeh Shehu Mispar Chazon. So he says, why does it require 71? Why particularly 71? Because the word chazon, right? The word vision is also chet is 8, zayin is 7, vav is 6, and nun is 50, right? So 8 plus 7 plus 6 is 21, and then 50, right. So 71. Dichtib, vaya Hashem im hashofet, right? Like it says that God will be with the judge. Sheyeh chacham adif minavi, that a wise person would be even better than a prophet. Ki yara alav hakadosh baruch hu ruach mimarom, so that God would bring a Holy Spirit down upon him from above, al ha'emet shelo yikashel bedin, so that he would have the truth and not stumble. Meruma velo yit'u ot'o ha'edim, and witnesses shouldn't be able to confuse him. Ubale din and or the plaintiff and defendant, letzet mitachat yado davar hefech ha'emet, that he would end up saying something that was the opposite of the truth. Ela yizke ledun din emet la'amito, but he would actually be able to do that which is most true. Ken navi v'chozeh, like a prophet and one a seer, right? Shehu ro'eh hanistarot, that he can see those things which are hidden. Lachen mispar haSanhedrin mispar chazon. Therefore, the Sanhedrin has to be a number same as vision, 71. Ki yimtza'u chazon me'im Hashem, so that they would have a vision from God. L'chvin al ha'emet, to be turned towards the truth. Ke'ilu hem nevi'im, like they were prophets. Kasher Elokim nitzav ba'adat kel, right? Like it says in Psalm 82 that God stands in the congregation of the mighty ones, meaning the judges. Hem HaSanhedrin, that's the Sanhedrin. Nimtza nishlam etzlam mispar ein bet. And since God is standing with them, then you get 72.
Wow.
Ah.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. So 72 is a very special number in Judaism. V'lazeh amar hine Hashem nitzav al chomat anach ubeyado anach. Right? And it says in
The famous pasuk in Amos.
yeah, that God stood with on the wall, and in his hand was a measure, I believe.
No idea.
Well, let's see how they translate anach. Plumb line. That's how they translate plumb line. Plumb line is something that's used to by stonemasons to show what is straight down. So it's basically it's a weighted line, so you see what 90 degrees to the ground is like. V'hainu anach. So anach is also 71, right? Aleph, Nun, and Chet, right? Shehu mispar haSanhedrin, which is the number of the Sanhedrin. Ubeyado masurim ha'anach. And in his hand are given this plumb line, right? This 71. Shelo yikashlu b'shum davar. That they should not trip in any way. Kihu yitbarach hanitzav alehem. Matel levavam lachavin al ha'emet v'hayosher lachen hem mispar yonah. Because God is going to turn them towards that which is true and straight, right? Which is also the same number as Yonah, the dove, which is 71 also. Yud is 10, Vav is 6, and Hey is 5, so that's 21. And then Nun, which is 50. Ki Knesset Israel nimshala leYonah. Because the congregation of Israel is also referred to as a dove. V'kevan de Elokim nitzav ba'adat kel, and since God stands in the congregation of the judges, hen haSanhedrin shehem shivim ve'echad nimtza nishlam bezeh mispar chesed. Wow,
this is awesome.
We find that through this you also have chesed, right? Which is so chesed becomes its chet is 8 and daled is 4, right? So that becomes 12, and samech, that's 72. I don't know why it says 71 here. Va'al yedei kach ha'olam mitkayem d'chtiv olam chesed yibanim. And the world will be established in this way because it says in Psalms that the world was created through God's kindness, loving kindness, right? So that's 72. V'chen kativ ki im Hashem hachesed, and it says it is with God that you have the loving kindness. Retzono lamar betziruf hashchina hanitzav al haSanhedrin. When you include the Shechina, which is upon the Sanhedrin of 71, nishlam mispar hachesed. That's how you end up with 72, which is loving kindness. Hamekayem et haolam, that which lets the world exist. Ubazeh harbe imo pedut. Similarly, we say it is great with him redemption. Ach Sanhedre katana hem esrim b'shalosh. But a small Sanhedrin is 23. Keminyan chut. That is like the number 23 for chut. How does chut come out?
8 plus 6 is 14 plus 9 is 23.
Oh, 23.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, 23. Shehem chut shel chesed, because they are like a line of God's mercy. Ki kocham nimshach mikoach Sanhedrin gedola, because what power they have is drawn from the great Sanhedrin, vehu chut mamash hanimshach misham, and they're truly like a line which is drawn from the Sanhedrin of Chesed.
Is that his whole piece on? Is that does he have any? Is that his whole piece on 2A?
That's his whole piece on 2A,
Wow.
I believe.
Wow.
Let me see.
That was beautiful. Really beautiful.
Yeah, the next one is on 5A. We don't have.
Wait.
Yeah, we don't have one for a while. Yeah.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
You gotta love the Ben Ish Chai. I mean,
you should know. You'll be shocked to hear this. When I was in yeshiva, I used to learn Ben Yehuda. Like my later years in yeshiva, I used to learn it. I was very drawn to it. So
really, I did not know this at all. Wow.
I was a rebel even when I was in yeshiva.
Baruch Shekivanti. What rebel? Ben Yehoyada. Apparently, he's become very, very popular in yeshivas.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yeah. Okay,
Great.
I think we're done. It was nice meeting all of you. We are going to end the stream.
See you next week.